All right, how are we looking at putting the case top half on now? Got the seals, got the dowel pins in, got all the clips, transmission, crank. I forgot this on my last video, so I'm going to slide it in now. I put the clutch basket on in my last video before I put the shift shaft in. Then I had to take the clutch basket back off. So that has already been set up, so we'll slide that in. And I think we'll put this in after we get the case top on. All right, let's 1211. 1211 or up. 1211 3 bond. My favorite one to use, though you can use others. I've used many others. This one seems to work best if there are any major flaws in the mating surfaces. It seals the biggest imperfections up. So if you have cases that are beat, this is the best stuff to use. These cases are absolutely perfect. I believe that's a good full seal all the way around. Double check. And we will lift the top case on. We will start dropping in all of the 10mm top case bolts. Alrighty. You can tell if you have the case bolts in the wrong holes, as the heads will be at different heights. Two short ones here. All these are the same size. One long one. Tighten them in sequence. The numbers are on the top of the case. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Get started. 14. Nope. 15. And the last 16. We are missing our rear case breather. Got to make sure I get that in there. And then the 1 through 8 is across the bottom. I'll do those and then come back up here, torque top, torque bottom. I happen to have a breather and hose in stock, as this guy didn't have one. Should always have the breather up here. They're fairly easy to install. There we go. Breather down the back of the motor. Now let's get the bottom on. This guy's case clip was missing, this plate clip, so we're going to put a new one on. get this water pipe installed. Just slides right through, the clips out. These go in fairly easy. The ring holds it from sliding back out. Just have to work it over where the O-ring goes and then back into the second clip spot there, second groove. Then new O-ring, just set it right over the top. You can grease that when you put the side cover on. Make sure it's not pinched or rolled and sits on there nice. That's it. Now, down to the main drive gear, keyed. This one can be tricky sometimes. It likes to fight going on there. Sometimes you just have to stretch this out a little bit and make sure the spring doesn't snap, roll, or fall off. You don't want this seal rolled or compromised in any way. And the machine tolerances are very close, so you have to get it perfectly square to go on. It seems like this one wants to put up a little bit of a fight. So we'll stretch it around as we go. You've seen me do this on other videos. I just take and kind of walk it around so the seal doesn't turn inside out. Springs on, seal is not turned inside out. Looks good. And you know I like to throw a little 3-bond. A little bit of 3-bond right here because sometimes this machined area wants to suck the clutch transmission oil into the crank valley. And then you're smoking like a choo-choo train. You don't want that leaking. Conical washer. Put this on the correct way. It's bent like this. It should go on like that and flatten out. Kind of a locking washer piece, but I don't ever use it, or I should say I don't ever tighten it without some 3-bond, without some Loctite. Loctite that guy up. And remember, even red permanent Loctite is not permanent. A little bit of heat on this and it'll melt and come right back off. Washer. New clutch locking tab. Sometimes I see motors without these. Red Loctite works in a pinch, but I always use the locking washer. Okay, these clutches, you just stagger them. You put on a fiber, and then you put on a steel, and you put on a fiber, and you put on a steel until you're all done. These come with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fibers and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steels. And if you're running an OEM clutch, just throw all the rubber bands that go in between all these away. You don't want the rubber bands in there. They serve no purpose in the aftermarket industry. When you're making power, you toss them. Just installing a pancake bearing on this plate. I throw the regular one out. It's keyed. That's what causes your ball to weld to your rod. A ball and rod I just stuck in there will weld itself if you don't make this floating. This has got to float with this needle bearing here. We'll get it all adjusted up, but we'll get it installed first. And that allows it to spin when it contacts the throwout plate, so it's not keyed. This only goes on one way. You can line up the arrows, or you can just shoot and gamble. That's not seated, so we will turn it once over, and hey, what's going on here? Oh, is it too deep? There we go. The arrow is supposed to line up with the dot. You can line any of these 3 arrows up with the dot, or you can just shove it in there and you might get it, you might not. It can only go on one wrong way, which is just one over, and it won't seat right. There, that's seated right. This is a drag motor, or I should say drag setup on race gas. And we'll throw some heavy duty springs in it. I don't think he wants a lockout, but we can install one later if need be. Try to get the right combo of springs in there for this dune drag motor. We're not going to run a lockout, but we want some life in this clutch and we want it to hold. Now we've got to get this adjusted correctly. Okay, that swings way too far past, you can see. That's where I want it. A 10 to hold the neck and a 12 to tighten it up. Heck just happened? I love when stuff like this goes wrong. I just checked it. Why is acting like it's all bound up. Hold the neck. This can be tricky sometimes. You have to hold that in place so it doesn't turn. There we go. Right on the money.